Kerubiel Yahweh the Prince, who is in charge of them, marshals them into pleasing, fine, and beautiful array, and extols them with all kinds of praise, glory, and honor. He makes them haste with glory and strength to do the will of their Creator at every moment, for on top of their heads abides perpetually the glory of the high and exalted King who dwells upon the cherubim. Above them is a prince, great, terrible, mighty, exalted, distinguished, dreaded, ancient, and strong. Opaniel Yahweh is his name. He has 16 faces, 4 on each side, and 100 wings on each side. He has 8,766 eyes, corresponding to the number of hours in a year, 2,191 on each side. In each a pair of eyes, in each of his faces lightnings flash, from every eye torches blaze, and no one can look on them, for anyone who looks at them is at once consumed. The height of his body is a journey of 2,500 years. No eye can see it, no mouth can tell the mighty strength of his power, save only the King of kings, the Holy One, blessed be he. Why is his name called Opaniel? Because he is appointed to tend the Ophanim, and the Ophanim are entrusted to his keeping. Every day he stands over them and tends them and beautifies them. He praises and arranges their running. He polishes their platforms. He adorns their compartments. He makes their turning smooth and cleans their seats. Early and late, day and night, he tends to them so as to increase their beauty, to magnify their majesty, and to make them swift in praise of their Creator. All the Ophanim are full of eyes and full of wings, eyes corresponding to wings and wings corresponding to eyes. From them light shines, like the light of the morning star. 72 sapphire stones are set in their garments on the right side of each of them. 72 sapphire stones are set in their garments on the left side of each of them, and 4 emeralds are set in each one's crown, the brightness of which shines into the 4 corners of Arabat, just as the brightness of the sun's orb shines into the 4 corners of the world. Pavilions of brilliance, pavilions of splendor, pavilions of light, sapphire, and emerald envelop them, so that no one should see the appearance of their eyes and of their faces. Above them is a prince, wonderful, noble, great, respected, mighty, lordly, a captain and a leader, glorified, honored, and beloved. He is all full of brightness and full of praise and radiance, all full of splendor, all full of light, all full of beauty, all full of loveliness, all full of greatness and magnificence. His face is like the face of angels, and his body is like the body of eagles. His brilliance is like lightning, his appearance is like firebrands, his beauty like lightning flashes, his majesty like fiery coals, his adornment like hasmalim, his radiance like the light of the morning star, his image like the greater light, his height as the 7 heavens, the light of his eyes like 7-fold light. The sapphire stone on his head is the size of the whole world, and like the brilliance of the heavens themselves in clarity. His body is full of eyes like the stars of heaven, beyond reckoning, without number, and each eye is like the morning star. Some of them are like the lesser light, some like the greater light. From his ankles to his knees they resemble stars of lightning, from his knees to his thighs the morning star, from his thighs to his waist the light of the moon, and from his waist to his neck the light of the sun, and from his neck to his forehead unfading light. The crown on his head is radiant like the throne of glory, and the height of the crown is a journey of 502 years. There is no kind of radiance, no kind of splendor, no kind of brilliance, no kind of light in the world which is not placed in that crown. Serapiel is the name of that prince, and on the name of the crown on his head is Prince of Peace. Why is his name called Serapiel? Because he is in charge of the seraphim, and the seraphim of flame are committed to his care. He stands over them day and night and teaches them song, psalm, eulogy, might, and majesty, so that they might glorify their King with all manner of praise and sanctifying song. How many seraphim are there? 4, corresponding to the 4 winds of the world. How many wings do each of them have? 6, corresponding to the 6 days of creation. How many faces have they? 16, 4 facing in each direction. The measure of the seraphim and the height of each of them corresponds to the 7 heavens. The size of each wing is as the fullness of a heaven, and the size of each face is like the rising sun. Every one of them radiates light like the splendor of the throne of glory, so that even the holy creatures, the majestic Ophanim and the glorious cherubim cannot look on that light, For the eyes of anyone who looks on it will grow dim in its brilliance. Why is their name called seraphim? Because they burn like the tablets of Satan. Every day Satan sits with Samael, prince of Rome, and with Dubiel, prince of Persia, and they write down the sins of Israel on tablets and give them to the seraphim to bring them before the Holy One, blessed be he, so that he should destroy Israel from the world. But the seraphim know the secrets of the Holy One, blessed be he, that he does not desire that this nation of Israel should fall. What then do the seraphim do? Every day they take the tablets from Satan's hand and burn them in the blazing fire that stands opposite to the high and exalted throne, so that they should not come into the presence of the Holy One, blessed be he, when he sits upon the throne of judgment and judges the whole world in truth. Above the seraphim is a prince, more exalted than all princes, more wonderful than all ministers. Rodweriel Yahweh is his name, and he is in charge of the archives. He takes out the scroll box in which the book of records is kept, and brings it into the presence of the Holy One, blessed be he. He breaks the seals of the scroll box, opens it, takes out the scrolls, and puts them in the hands of the Holy One, blessed be he. The Holy One receives them from his hand and places them before the scribes, so that they might read them out to the great law court, which is in the height of the heaven of Arabat, in the presence of the heavenly household. Why is his name called the Rabweriel? Because from every utterance that issues from his mouth an angel is formed, and it joins in the songs of the ministering angels, and recites the song before the Holy One, blessed be he, when the time comes to say, Holy. Above all these are four great princes called Watchers and Holy Ones, high and honored, terrible, beloved, wonderful, noble, and greater than all the celestials, and among all the ministers there is none equal to them, for each of them singly is a match for all the others together. Their abode is opposite the throne of glory, and their station is facing the Holy One, blessed be he, so that the splendor of their abode resembles the splendor of the throne of glory, and the brilliance of their image is as the brilliance of the Shekinah. They receive glory from the glory of the Almighty, and they are praised with the praise of the Shekinah. Moreover, the Holy One, blessed be he, does nothing in the world without first taking counsel with them, then acts as it is written. Such is the sentence proclaimed by the watchers, the verdict announced by the holy ones. There are 2 watchers and 2 holy ones. How do they stand before the Holy One, blessed be he? It is taught that a watcher stands on one side and a holy one on the other, and a watcher stands on one side and a holy one on the other. They abase the arrogant to the earth and exalt the lowly on high. Every day when the Holy One, blessed be he, sits on the throne of judgment and judges all the world, with the books of the living and the books of the dead open before him, all the celestials stand before him in fear, dread, terror, and trembling. When the Holy One, blessed be he, sits in judgment on the throne of judgment, his garment is white like snow, the hair of his head is as pure wool, his whole robe shines like a dazzling light, and he is covered all over with righteousness as with a coat of mail. The watchers and the Holy One stand before him like court officers before the judge. They take up and debate every single matter, and they close each case that comes for judgment before the Holy One. Blessed be he, as it is written. Such is the sentence proclaimed by the watchers, the verdict announced by the Holy Ones. Some of them decide the cases. Some of them issue the verdicts in the great court in Arabat. Some of them raise the questions in the presence of the Almighty. Some complete the cases before the One above, and some carry out the sentences on the earth beneath, as it is written. Behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. At the top of his voice he shouted, Cut the tree down, lop off its branches, strip its leaves, throw away its fruit. Let the animals flee from its shelter, and the birds from its branches. Why are their names called watchers and holy ones? Because they sanctify the body and the soul with lashes of fire on the 3rd day of judgment, as it is written, After 2 days he will revive us. On the 3rd day he will raise us, and we shall live in his presence. Each one of them has 70 names corresponding to the 70 languages that are in the world, and all of them are based on the name of the Holy One, blessed be he. Every single name is written with a pen of flame upon the terrible crown that is on the head of the high and exalted King. From each of them sparks and lightning shoot forth. From each of them rays of splendor stream out, and from each of them lights flash. Pavilions and tents of brilliance surround them, for even the seraphim and the creatures who are greater than all the celestials cannot look on them.